Good morning. So obviously I'm in my car again. Most of my videos will probably be this way just because number one, I spend a lot of time in my car. And number two, that's where I seem to get most of my inspiration. It's almost like meditative for me when I'm driving and my brain is nowhere else. The greatest things happen. So this one was actually a podcast I was listening to. Kind of reminded me of some conversations I've had over the past several months with people. Obviously, I write blogs. My blogs are real. They're my story. They're my life. They're things I've gone through, things that have happened to me, my vulnerabilities, my weaknesses, my strengths. They're everything, and they're really, really real, and they're really, really raw. And then I've had a lot of people ask me, like, why do you put yourself out there like that? Or, basically like that I shouldn't, or that it's wrong, or that they would be afraid to, and here's the thing, like, it doesn't really matter. And the same thing with real estate. I'm in my first year of real estate. A lot of people don't like to admit that they're brand new. For me, I'm so uncomfortable with being inauthentic that you can read it from a million miles away. And I think you can see inauthenticity in anybody. However, for me, it's definitely magnified. I just get so uncomfortable if I feel like I'm not being completely honest and transparent with people. And so the reality of it is that you can feel afraid. You can feel like people don't know you have weaknesses. You can feel like anything you want, like hiding that you're new is going to get you more business in real estate, or that not being your authentic self and whatever it is that you choose to do is somehow going to benefit you because people shouldn't know your weaknesses. But I'm just going to be really direct about it. You're wrong. People know. In fact, it took a long time for me to see it, but people saw my weaknesses before I did, before I even knew they were there. So not talking about them, hiding them, pretending they're not there, or lying about them is really benefiting nobody at all. And so, yeah, like I specifically, like my divorce was a thing that came up. And I was like, no, because the fact of the matter is every single person that you look at has junk. It may not be the same junk as you. I don't care how pretty their picture looks, or how great their life looks, or how amazing their perspective is. They still have junk. We all do. Quite literally, there's nothing bigger, better, worse, badder, dirtier, prettier. Like, there's nothing that anybody goes through or that you're going through that other people aren't going through as well. In fact, there's a book I really love called Return to Love, and she talks about in there how all the people in your life experience are simply a reflection of who you are. And so even when you're like upset with somebody else for something that they did or they're doing or being or not being or whatever the case may be, the reality is you need to look at you, because when you're mad at them for what they're doing, it is a reflection of you and who you're being and how you're showing up in that moment, and vice versa. I went through a really tough transition with a team that I was like an assistant manager for not that long ago, actually. And there was some of them were so nasty to me, and I couldn't figure out why, because I genuinely wanted them to win, and I genuinely poured into them everything I had, and I did everything I knew how to do, and they were just feisty. And so, number one, of course, I had to look at myself and go, like, what are you doing to cause that, right? And just be real with yourself. If you don't see it, don't dwell on it. Just keep being you and keep going, because it's going to balance itself out. It has to. It's the way the world works. Energy is always going to balance. There's no way around that. However, it hit me eventually that the way they were treating me was something that they didn't like in them, because that same rule applies to everybody, right? When they were upset with me for something, or accusing me of something, or seeing me in a certain way, it was a reflection of who they were or something they didn't like about themselves. And when I realized that, I stopped caring. And when I stopped caring and all the resistance went away, all of a sudden they stopped treating me that way. And so my advice to everybody is do it at your own pace. Do it when you're ready. But don't feel the need to hide behind something, because once again, the people around you have probably seen your weaknesses and your pitfalls long before you even knew that they were there. Just be you. No need to hide it, and have fun. Have a good day. Bye.